Good morning and welcome to Hello Westchester here on WCHE every Monday from 11:30 to noon. I'm Eric Lambera, joined by Kara Cordoni, publisher of Hello Westchester, which you can subscribe at hellowestchesterpa.com. Good morning, Kara. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. Great to have you back on the air.
Well, it's nice to be back. I feel like it's in and out this summer, but...
Right. Oh, I was talking off air. I said it's that time of year. You know, you're heading towards the Labor Day holiday, trying to get the last vacations in and everything. So let's jump into things. We have a lot to talk about, as always. We'll start off first with Chester Borough stops collecting its stream protection fee. Yeah,
so big news for borough residents, and this stems from an April 30th decision by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Westchester had instituted this stream protection fee in 2017. The idea was to help the borough pay for state-mandated stormwater management protocol that needed to be put into place to make sure that we are not polluting our waterways. So in order to pay for those projects, Westchester devised this fee, and it levied it on everyone in the borough. And as a fee, they argued as a fee it applied to everyone, including properties like Westchester University, which is tax exempt. Westchester University looked at the program, and they decided that it was not a fee, it was a tax, and they sued the borough so that they did not have to pay it. This went on for years. The decision finally came out went all the way up to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and the decision finally was rendered in April on the 30th. And the Supreme Court ruled by a vote of 4-3 that, in fact, the stream protection fee was not a fee. It was a tax, the way it was structured, and therefore tax-exempt institutions like Westchester University did not have to pay it. At the time, we didn't know much else about it. Westchester University has never paid into the program, so not much was impacted there. They haven't paid into it. They were not likely to continue to pay to it. But what we learned by going through the borough's latest financial audit is that nobody will be paying into it. So apparently the lawyers, once they have reviewed the final decision, determined that as the fee is currently structured, not as a fee, as a tax, everyone is exempt from paying it. So the borough will no longer be collecting a stream protection fee from any resident or landowner in the borough. So some big news there. I think we heard some feedback, and I'm not sure people may have confused it with the original decision from the Supreme Court. But this review of that decision is actually the implications go much further than just Westchester University. It looks like it will be applied to everybody in the borough who has been paying into this fee. That does leave a number of questions, particularly how is Westchester going to pay for these projects, which it is still required by the state to do. That is something that's going to be discussed by Borough Council starting likely this month. There will likely be some new funding sources that they will have to discuss going forward because they will still need to figure out how to pay for that. So some big questions, but but big change for all Westchester residents.
That's certainly a big change, as you mentioned. You mentioned there's been a lot of feedback to it. How has it been from what you've seen overall? We
actually haven't heard too much feedback. I think initial feedback is that I think people are not quite understanding the full implications of this, and just by looking at like headlines, believing it only is the Westchester University piece, which is not the case. We do have a planned social media post on this for this week, and when we post things on social media, we get a lot more direct feedback from residents and readers. So it'll be interesting to see what the thoughts are on this how people think the borough should proceed going forward. We do know that over the last 9 years, between 2017 and 2026, because the fees were collected this year, the stream Stream Protection Fund has received approximately $12.6 million in contributions. About $11.1 million of those came from the stream protection fee itself. The borough does take on annually about one project a year, according to borough manager Sean Metrick. Those on average cost the borough around $700,000 per capital project. And then on top of that, they spend between $50,000 and $250,000 on maintenance for the various stormwater projects that have already been initiated. There's quite a few. There's rain. You see in the rain gardens, those bump outs. Those are all stream protection fee projects. There was a very big one that they did recently over at Taylor Run. It was a stream break restoration project. That was a large project for the borough. But in the past, we've really kind of been relegated to small projects because we don't have large swaths of lands to really do the big, impactful projects. So those smaller ones actually are pretty costly for their impact. So that's where we kind of are. So this is going to be a big change for the borough and for its residents. It also has implications likely outside of the borough because Westchester's not the only Pennsylvania municipality who has a stream protection fee. So there's roughly 70 others. I'm guessing, we don't have word yet, but that they're likely in a similar situation where they're rethinking their funding sources. So, like I said, this will be discussed further in August. If people have thoughts or would like to get involved, they're encouraged to attend that work session and hear what's going on. I would like to note that there is been a House bill, Pennsylvania House Bill 1308. It was introduced after this, or actually was introduced before, but because of this pending litigation, it's to give municipalities ways to address this. So it kind of ends the unfunded mandate portion of the stormwater management responsibilities doled out to the municipalities. But unfortunately, that has not really gone too far yet. So that would help if it were to be passed, but it's kind of stuck somewhere.
Right. So a lot to watch for, including you mentioned the HB 1308 as well as some of the upcoming work sessions.
Yes.
So a lot to check out going forward. Let's go next to our second story, some sad news with Sunset Jewelers preparing for its sale.
Yeah, so Sunset Hill Jewelers has been a fixture on South High Street for 43 years now. It is owned by Sandy and Joseph Riper, but it looks like they're going to sunset their own business careers. And they're looking to sell their building on High Street and kind of move into retirement. They're not quite there yet, as Sandy tells me. They are baby stepping it, so still open like 3 days a week, and they are taking by appointment. But they are looking to kind of move into retirement. It's a busy job, and a lot of need to be in store and in site, which can be demanding, especially around the holidays. But I did get a chance to catch up with Sandy about her experiences on South High Street and in Westchester. She grew up here. She was a graduate of Henderson High School before she started in the retail business. And she's played an active role in downtown, not only as a retailer herself, but as a leader. She served as the president of both the Greater Westchester board, the board of the Greater Westchester Chamber of Commerce, also as on the board of the downtown Westchester, the business improvement district there. So she was pretty instrumental in many of those changes that have led to the revitalization of downtown Westchester. She is credited with coming up with the idea of the gallery walks, which happen now twice annually. But so we talked about how retail has transformed since she started in 1973 when they opened. Then all shopping was done in person. Now about 20% of purchases are made online, with clothing and accessories being among those most often bought virtually. And while a lot of people still come in to make major purchases like jewelry, especially the fine jewelry that Sandy and her husband sell. A lot of the research is done ahead of time. So people are coming in maybe to make that final purchase or to see the product firsthand, but they start with a lot of online research, so a lot less browsing, a lot less people just kind of popping in and out throughout the day. Is also a lot less people downtown, she says, from when she started. A lot of people work from home now, so less foot traffic during the days in downtown Westchester. So big changes there, but yeah, so...
Was it definitely a mainstay in the community? I mean, 43 years, that's very impressive. 43
years, touched a lot of lives, obviously selling jewelry and engagement rings and those types of purchases. You know, you get to know people. We did share this one on social media, too. A lot of comments, a lot of well wishes for Sandy and her husband. A lot of you will be missed, so a lot of kind of goodwill towards them. The other signature about Sunset Hill is that big bow.
Mm-hmm.
So every Christmas, well, it's actually not been going up as long as I had thought, but the last 10 years, I can't remember. But anyway, they've been putting up that big bow on their building, very iconic, very signature. Now it's get to be known for that. And I did ask what was going to happen to the bow. And Sandy said they are going to leave it to the next owners of the building. So they will look to sell the building before they move on, and when they do that, they will leave the bow, and hopefully they will continue to put it up every holiday season.
Right, I did see that it said they were looking to someone to take the reins to keep it going, the big red bow included. So we'll have to see what happens. But as you mentioned as well, not only just the store, the gallery walk helped establish that. She also created the Harry Dunn Memorial Art Scholarship. That's awarded over $100,000 to local students. So a huge, tremendous impact on the Westchester area.
Yes, I think she's going to, her impact goes beyond what you see just there on the storefront. So.
And a prime location as well,
yeah,
like for the next owners.
Sure.
So that is the Sunset Hill Jewelers preparing for its sale. Let's get one more in here. That was Westside Little League playing in the Little League World Series.
Yeah, so this is a fun story, but Westside Little League has sent its first team ever to the Little League World Series. They played on Sunday, so they started with a big win here in Pennsylvania, taking the state tournament by storm. They followed that up with an undefeated run through the East Regional, where they came out as the as the winner of the regional, which earned them a spot in the World Series, being played over in California right now. Their first game was last night. They did drop it. It was their first loss of the tournament so far, so they had entered that World Series with a perfect 13-0 record. They did lose yesterday 3-2 to the team from the Central Division, but they will be back in action. It's a double elimination, so they play again on Tuesday, and hopefully they can get a win and keep going, and love to see them still play. The games are being broadcast on ESPN Plus. If anybody would like to take a look and cheer them on, I'm sure they would appreciate that.
It's always great to see the local teams making it. I know last year the Glenmore Eagles from Upper Euclid made it in the Mid-Atlantic region as the champion for that. So always good to see the local representation, and wish them the best.
Yeah, I think this is the first team from Westchester to make it. I know it's the first West Side team. So, exciting news for them.
Right, and wish them the best. You mentioned the next game will be on Tuesday, so we'll be following that one closely. As you mentioned, ESPN Plus. We are at the show. We're at 11:44. Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we'll have much more, including some quick updates, looking ahead to some things as well. So you're listening to WCHE, and we will be right back. And welcome back to Hello Westchester. I'm Eric Lambera, joined by Kara Cordoni, publisher of Hello Westchester. Releases every Friday. You can subscribe at hellowestchesterpa.com. So we have some quick updates to get to. Next, we'll go first to Westchester Area School District approving a 3.3% tax increase for Chester County residents.
Yes. So earlier this month, Pennsylvania passed a state budget that included a pretty sizable increase for public education funding. State Senator Carolyn Comita kind of reported that there would be an increase of $11 million to the schools in her district alone. Unfortunately, that is not an even distribution. Westchester area school district saw a modest $217,000 increase, which is about 0.06% of the budget, so not enough to fend off a pending tax increase. Early this summer, they did approve a final general budget for 26-27 school year. It's $344 million. That reflects an $11 million or 3.3% increase over the prior year. Some of that money is going to student programs, special education services, new books and supplies. And then there's also a $1 million increase to debt services to support capital building renovations. Several buildings right now are being renovated within the district. And also more money for teachers. So that $11 million increase to the budget does have to be made up somewhere, and it is going to come down to the taxpayers. That 3.3% budget increase will result in a 3.3% property tax increase for Chester County residents. That's going to look about $148 for the average payer. If you live in Delaware County, that hike is going to be much higher. That increase is 7.6% or $433. So yeah. And if you want to go into the details of the Westchester Area School District budget, it is posted online, so you can look on that.
Yeah, I think that's always the first question with the increases, like where is it going to? But you are seeing different, as you pointed out, increases in the education system, whether it be for teachers and just more resources. So it's something that, is needed.
Yes.
As far as that goes. So that was Westchester Area School District approving a tax increase for residents. Let's go next to Copeland School Road, closing for utility work.
Yeah, so this is a long detour, so if you're in the area of East Bradford, make a note. But Copeland School Road will be closed and detoured weekdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is between Dunmore Lane and Frank Road, Sunset Hollow Road, North New Street, and Taylor's Mill Road, and Downingtown Pike 322 will be your alternatives. The work began last week and is expected to run through the end of October. So make note.
I was going to say, always
set up for a while.
some sort of construction, and there's no difference. So as you mentioned, PECO upgrading utilities, and the Copeland School Road will be closed 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that'll be through the end of October. Let's go next to Westchester celebrating America's 250, and that was yesterday, right?
Yeah, so Westchester held its big America 250 celebration last night on Gay Street. It was supposed to take place from 4 to 8 p.m., Unfortunately, weather got in the way. I think it was raining at 4. We did get a chance to go down a little before 5. We made it through without the rain, but I think it might have started back up. It was a little bit lightly attended, but they did have some interesting displays, some historic stuff, some historic weaponry. We saw an old-fashioned bike. The cars were out there. The League for Women Voters was represented. There was a brass band walking around playing some period music. So it was fun. Unfortunately, the weather did kind of, put a damper on things, and it canceled the drone show, which is probably a little disappointing for people. So those rooftop parties and the drone show were canceled. I don't know that they'll be revisited, but that did not happen. Also celebrating, that did happen, was a more longer-term project, but Westchester supported a red, white, and bloom flower mix. So these were packets of flowers that have been handed out throughout at events throughout the borough this summer. There was 1,000 seed packets delivered, and now the blooms are popping up. So those are all around the borough if you want to take a look. They're in pinks and whites and reds and light pinks. So.
And going back to the 250, the drone show, I've done a few in the past, and they're a lot of fun. So
are they?
Unfortunate that it was canceled, but obviously, rightfully so with the weather. But glad that they were still able to at least get some stuff in and celebrate the 250. But the drone show, I did one before at a Phillies game afterwards, and it was really cool to see.
I've never seen one, so I was curious to see what that was going to be like. So it's unfortunate.
And it seems like some people may be doing that now instead of fireworks.
That's
in some cases.
what I'm gathering, but
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was over the weekend. Let's go next to Cutter and Cannon opening a tasting room on Gay Street.
Yeah, so this was actually also going on last night. But Cutter and Cannon is a local distillery. They opened earlier this year on Carter Drive. Now they have a second tasting location down on Gay Street. They specialize in artisanal rums, whiskeys, and gin. So check them out. We went over and took a look. It used to be a coffee shop, and they made some significant changes. It definitely looks more like a whiskey tasting room now.
Right, so make sure to check it out. That was Cutter and Cannon opening a tasting room. And going next to repair work continuing on Chestnut Square Apartments.
Yeah, so we reported on this last year that there were ongoing moisture issues at the luxury apartments on Gay Street, on East Gay Street there. Nearly a year later, remediation continues. I'm told water issues have also been found affecting the fourth floor balconies and the communal terrace on on Chestnut Street. Crews were out actively working on the building last month. You could see that the exterior facade had been removed. It looks like they are replacing vapor barriers and other materials there to hopefully stop additional moisture from getting in.
Yep, so good to see that some of the work is being done. Obviously not ideal conditions, so glad that they're getting some work on that. And going next to QVC, hosting a vote to unionize.
Yeah, so earlier this month, the shopping networks, I guess last month, got that month change August, over here. Yep. Earlier last month, the shopping networks on-air talent formally voted to join the SAG-AFTRA union. According to a recent report in the Philadelphia Inquirer, the on-air talent voted overwhelmingly to unionize amid concerns of AI imitations and job security. As we've reported before, QVC declared bankruptcy in April, and then a judge recently approved their reorganization plan, and the company hopes to be out of bankruptcy by the end of the summer. So hopefully that will happen for them.
Yeah, I had read about that too, and it had mentioned that they're relying more on like the TikTok shop and a lot of the digital platforms now. So
beyond just the TV shopping network. Yeah, I think it's social media shopping now.
Right, the changing landscape of media. And then going next to Uptown, naming a new board president.
Yes, so some changes over at Uptown. They are welcoming actor-director Bob Lorman as the new board president of Uptown Theater. Up until about a month ago, Bob was resident director of Sheer Madness, a comedic whodunit that has run at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. for the last 39 years. It closed on June 7th after 14,737 shows. A lot of shows. So now that with that done, Bob will shift his focus to the Westchester and Uptown. He's hoping to make the theater accessible to all. He told the Daily Local that he wants to see the theater serve all of the community, young, old, all neighborhoods, and surrounding towns.
Yep, and Uptown I know they always do a great job with tribute shows and lots of big things, and so looking forward to seeing what Bob can do at the helm. So
yes.
Wishing him the best of luck. And let's go next to, we have one more quick update, and that was the U.S. facing a blood crisis.
Yes, so for only the second time in its history, the American Red Cross has announced a national blood supply crisis. This is after summer supplies hit a 4-year low. Levels of type O positive blood are so depleted that they are being reserved for hospital distribution only. I think they're down to a 1-day supply. The American Red Cross announced its first blood crisis in 2022, and at the time they put additional safeguards in place to kind of help prevent that from happening again. Unfortunately, this summer blood donations have been so low that it just didn't matter, especially for type O blood. They're the reasons for this are kind of the various things that have happened this summer, including extreme heat, the poor air quality with the wildfires, and then the widespread foodborne illnesses, all being blamed for the lower than usual turnout. All that's being said is if you can donate blood, you should take a minute to do that. Westchester does have an American Red Cross blood donation center that is open all the time. That's over at 1065 Andrew Drive. They're open Monday through Thursday from 11:45 a.m. to 7:45 p.m. And then Friday through Sunday, 7:15 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah, and there certainly are a lot of cases where you can do so. I've read before, like different news releases, my Chesco Daily Local picking up on some of the local drives that they're having, blood drives, and so definitely important to do so if you can. And then moving next, we have a few minutes to go over some of the things to look ahead to.
Yeah, I think lazy summers in Westchester are taking a step back, are starting to pick up again. A lot going on this weekend.
Yep, so the first one I saw was the Night Out Against Crime and Touch a Truck at Henderson High School. That's going to be tomorrow, 6 to 9, and I think that's always a great cause.
That's a fun event. Yeah, it's a good time. People like that one, so that's happening tomorrow. Then on Thursday, there's a queer-friendly happy hour at Low Cali Wine Lounge from 5 to 7 p.m. Come chat and catch up with Westchester's LGBTQ plus community. And then also on Thursday is Theater in the Park. This is taking place over at Marshall Square Park at 6:30 p.m. That's a free community event. Then on Friday, it's First Friday, so there's going to be a summer concert series in downtown Westchester. That starts at 5:30. But before that, Tour de Trike is happening. This is downtown Westchester's tricycle bike race. Teams of 4 take place in I guess it's a relay race, a trike relay race, to win the coveted Tour de Trike trophy. And then also on Friday is a new event called Dancing on Gay Street. This is being put on by the Westchester Friends of Westchester Parks. All proceeds will go to the Westchester Park and Rec. Those classes are $10, but they're going to teach you how to dance. There will be classes in salsa, bachata, and merengue. Take place every hour on the hour. No need to sign up. Just show up with your $10 and dance.
So a busy Friday in Westchester for sure. And then also on Saturday the 8th, they have the Growers Market, 9 to 1, and WormCom.
In WormCom, this is a fun one. This takes place at Westchester University Science and Engineering Center in Commons. That's from 12 to 4 p.m. The event is free to attend, but registration is required, and this is a family-friendly event, so bring the kids. They're going to dig into how worms are really helping us understand the brain, develop new cures, and more. Then also on Saturday, Act Now is holding a Mahjong live Learn, Laugh, and Lift Up event. That's a fundraiser. And on Sunday, we got a couple of concerts. West Goshen Summer Concert Series is continuing with the Wilson Lambert's Blue Philly Magic. That's at 6:30 p.m. And also in East Bradford, it is the Achilles Heart, and that's at 7 p.m. in East Bradford Park.
So lots of great fun events coming up in Westchester, West Goshen as well, so make sure to check them out. And that does take us right to 12 o'clock. Kara, thank you for your time as always. Listeners, we will be back next time, and you can check out the podcast on 95.3WCHE.com. We will see you then.